Hello everyone, it's Andrew from Gem TCG here, and for today's video I'll be talking about taxes and how I handle my taxes as a reseller. A lot of you guys have been commenting and asking like what do I do to keep track of my expenses and my sales, as well as how I handle the taxes overall. So I wanted to make a video to clear things up because it is a very complex process and definitely one of the scarier things to deal with, because if you go wrong with this, then you can get into legal trouble and you don't want to deal with that. I've had some pretty scary stories in the beginning where I forgot to file taxes and then I got a bill for $1,500 as like a penalty. So you definitely don't want to have that happen to you. So hopefully this video will be helpful to you all and you can learn from my experience and what I do. But also I think I have to say this, like I'm not a financial advisor. Seek help from someone that's actually licensed, which is what I do personally. And yeah, if you need more help as well with starting your eBay store and growing it, I have a Patreon and the link is in the description. But let's get started with the tax side. So for taxes, basically when you're selling stuff online, you could either file them as a LLC or a individual person, like individual income. And what I recommend is that unless you're doing it full time and like you actually want to grow this to a huge scale, you don't really need to bother with an LLC. And I think the number I go with is like, if you get to like $10,000 in sales, then you could probably change to an LLC, because then it's like you're actually established and you're actually, making progress and doing things properly. But if you're just selling stuff here and there, you don't need to worry about doing that. And it's pretty cheap to set up. It costs like, I think it's like $50 to set one up if you do it yourself. I wouldn't recommend paying someone to do it for you because they charge a lot, and it's basically just filling out a form with information that you already know. So it's like pretty pointless to do that. And then the only benefit to that is I think you get the sales tax license, which means you don't have to pay sales tax on things that you're going to resell, which is very helpful when you're buying stuff on eBay and Amazon, stuff like that. You don't have to pay taxes. And then as for the way it works, or at least the way that I do it, is I track every single purchase that I make, as well as every single payout that I get from eBay and TCGplayer, whatnot, anything else where I make money from. And I don't use any complex softwares or anything. I literally use Excel or not even Excel, I use Google Sheets just because it's easy to access and it's free. So it's the best in my opinion. And the way that I do it is every single time I make a purchase, I open that sheet up, write down what I bought, put which category it's in, and then save it. And then I have it split up by month. And then I have columns for each type. So the way it works is like inventory is one category, sealed or shipping supplies is one, office supplies, softwares that I use, and shipping expenses is another thing. And I'll show you guys how it looks right now. So as you can see here, it looks like this, and I don't have any actual information on it because I don't want to share like people's names because I write their names here. So I'll just show you what it kind of looks like. And how I do it is, let's say I bought a collection for $1,000 from Jimmy. So I'll write his name and then I put the 1,000, and automatically here it calculates the total payments, and then the refunds is another thing I'll talk about later, and then the total sales. So I have all these things being tracked and calculated. And the way I do that is like total sales literally just takes this column and then total, like adds them all together. Total payments takes all of these columns. So as you can see, it shows like the header, it's 0 on each one. But then the way these headers are calculated is the whole column again. So like if I spent 500 and then 750, it just keeps adding. And then this number adds up as well. So it's very helpful when you're doing that, because you don't want to have to like manually go in and then type 1,000 plus 300 plus 200 and then keep going through it, because that could be very time consuming, especially if you're doing, hundreds of orders a month and then you know, like writing down each one and adding it up. It's just very time consuming. So that's how I have it here. And then I have this column arrived question mark because when I'm buying stuff online, I'm paying up front. So it's I need to keep track of it. And in case they don't ship it to me, I need to open a PayPal case. So I keep this thing like that. And if it arrived, all I do is check it. So then I know it came in, there was no issues, and it's good from there. And this is kind of part of a separate thing I would want to talk about, but basically you just keep track of all of your expenses this way. And then, yeah, and then I have like TCGplayer refunds, PayPal refunds. I run Google Ads, or I used to run Google Ads for something with this. And then pirate ship is just another one. Office supplies. Government fees is like paying taxes or renewing the LLC, stuff like that. So yeah, you just keep track of everything you spend. The sales part, I don't literally write down every sale because that doesn't even make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense to do that. So I just write down what my payout is from eBay and TCGplayer. And I do that at the end of the month. So I just look in my bank statement and see what I got paid. So I'll like write down, it'll look like this, like eBay 1,300, TCGplayer 500, eBay 1,200, and then this thing keeps getting added. And it's a lot easier to keep track of it that way rather than doing it like one by one. Because when I get paid, I have it so that eBay pays me every day, and TCGplayer, I think it's like every Tuesday and Thursday. So by the end of the month, this is like 50 rows long with just sales. And then once you get everything in there, it tracks everything. And I'll try to zoom out. Oh, you can't see. But below this, I don't know why it's not recording it, but below this, there's like each month has its own tab. And the reason why I have that is because at the end of the year, if in case there's like an issue, I can know exactly which month had that issue, and I can figure it out. And then also I have a separate like tab at the end where it calculates the totals for the year. So then it'll take this total sales, add them up for each month, this total payments added up for each month, total profit. So you get the point. And then I could send that to my CPA. He has all that information. I'd probably go in and revise it because like as I'm doing this right now and making the video, I realized that I need to have these all categorized by the year, like PayPal refunds, Amazon refunds, office supplies. Those all need to be their own category for the whole year. So I will have that fixed in the future. And then, so yeah, I send that to the tax guy and he files it for me. And if he ever needs any more information, I share that with him as well. And so that part is good. Like I pay him, he does it. I do recommend that being like something you would invest in, because dealing with taxes is, one, it's very risky because if it goes wrong, you can, pay fines, go to jail or something, and you don't want to deal with that. And the other thing is, it's a big headache. So the best thing to do is just take care of your expenses and your pay, and then share that with the CPA. I'm paying like $300 a year. So he does it like once a year, $300. And overall, it's very worth it in my opinion. I wouldn't recommend trying to do this all on your own and then worry about like getting the wrong information or anything like that. And another great thing is they know the tax benefits better than all of us, and they know how to leverage like write-offs, depreciation, inventory that hasn't sold, all those like little details that can help a lot. Because the best thing is when you don't have to pay a lot of taxes. So if you can write things off to then not have to pay taxes, it's very helpful. And that's something that I'm not too familiar with as well, but I just know that the tax, like the way that businesses are set up is to utilize these tax incentives. So you are better off just focusing on the business and then paying someone to do that side of the business, because you can study, these people study for years on this stuff and they know it a lot more than we can ever know it, unless you're focusing on it, like spending a lot of time. But that time can be used much more wisely in the business rather than trying to learn how to do taxes, because like I said, people study that for years, they get certified, they're professional, they know what they're doing, and you just don't want to deal with that. And yeah, basically, I mean, that's all for this. I don't think there's much else to it. You do need to be, if you are LLC, you do need to be like legally set up in your state. I'd recommend watching a video on how to set up an LLC. Maybe I'll make one in the future, but to be honest, it's different for every state. So it's like, it's just better to watch one for your specific state. That way you get the best information, because it can be different and you don't want to put the wrong info. And make sure you have everything within the same bank account because it's very hard to keep track of stuff when things are in separate bank accounts and you're like, this personal bank account had one payout and then another bank account had another payout, and you don't want to mix things like that. And another thing is to use only business credit cards, business debit cards, and then business bank accounts. Don't mix it with your personal bank account, because especially if you're an LLC, or that only applies to LLCs, but if you are one, you can't have those things mixing because it causes a lot of problems and can lead to really big problems that you don't want to deal with in the future. So to wrap this up, basically keep track of everything, do it little by little. Don't wait till the end of the month to like go through all of your transactions to then add it and keep track of it. And worst case, don't wait till the end of the year to keep track of everything, because I've done that in my first year and it was a big headache. It took me like 2 weeks to figure out everything and then get it all ready for my tax guy. So definitely don't do that. And I mean, the sales, I know I do that at the end of the month, but that's because it's very straightforward and it's very like clear. When I get the payout, it says eBay on my bank account and then the payout. So that's the only thing that you can do at the end of the month. But when you're buying stuff, write it down, track it for two reasons. One, you get it out of the way and you have it all labeled. And two, if it never arrived, you know that, and then you'll be able to like open a case, get your money back, stuff like that. And then last is pay someone to do your taxes rather than trying to do it on your own, because no matter how much time you put into it, they will most likely be better at it than you will be. So that's basically all I have to say about doing taxes. Of course, seek someone that's actually licensed in doing taxes, and especially someone in your state, because it differs by state. And yeah, I'm not a professional, so just saying that just in case. But yeah, hope you guys found this video helpful, and I will see you all in the next one.